Welcome to Abby's Den. I'm Abby. Now today I have Lidl special buy. It was released on Thursday the 1st of October. It's the S010L. It is a 2-thread, 3-thread and 4-thread overlocker. When you do 2-thread you do need to use this special adapter, but otherwise you use your 3-thread and 4-thread quite simply. Now it boasts it goes at 1300 stitches per minute, which is sort of bog standard for this sort of overlocker. It's differential feed, as most overlockers released nowadays are. The good thing about this machine is if I pull this side off, it's quite fiddly. Not sure why it's not coming out. Reveals are free arm. Now the free arm is really good for things like cuffs, small sleeves, necklines and things like that, so that's a nice feature. If only this came off easily. In there it dropped out all the accessories that came with the machine. You've got a pair of needles to go with this machine. They're a size 90, so they're quite thick. You've got your adapter that you need to make this machine become a 2-thread overlock, which is really handy for a lot of knitwear. You've got your screwdriver for your needles, which is great because I'm not a big fan of machines that need to use Allen keys. The only problem is they never, for some reason, on overlockers give you a flathead screwdriver to open the needle plate. So you do need to find a second screwdriver for that. You do need to make sure you clean under your needle plate. So it would be handy if we receive those, and tweezers, but these are plastic. So some of the features about this machine: it's got a nice handle, so even though it's 6.5 kilograms, it has a nice handle there. It has sucker feet, so it can stick to the table. I've got a tablecloth on here, so it wouldn't stick to the table, but hopefully it won't bounce around too much when I'm going at full speed. Now, if I open this front, we want to look at the threading system. In the instructions, they don't really talk about upper looper, lower looper, left needle, right needle. They talk about the yellow, red, green and blue threads. They don't refer to the positioning of those threads. And on the thread map, it tells you the order in which you need to thread your machine. Now, looking at the threading system, that you have that funny order in which you've got to thread this machine. And if you don't do it in that order, what happens is your threads overlap in the wrong way and the machine can't form your stitches. So you do need to follow the thread map in the order it tells you. However, looking at the threading system, these threads come through and they're actually okay. They don't cross over. Sometimes they cross over in this section. So that means if you do the lower looper or the upper looper first, it wouldn't matter. Now this is quite a powerful machine at 90 watts. It's not as powerful as others, but 90 watts is a good power. So that means it will go fairly fast. We know that with the 1300, but that's at full speed. The differential feed ratio starts at 0.7 and goes all the way to 2, which is a good range. And also the stitch length goes all the way up to 4 millimeters. So again, that's really good. The other thing is the knife that we look for. So the smallest adjustment on the knife is 3.5 millimeters. Again, that's a really good close cut, and you like that. Now, if I turn this machine around, you can see that we have the 4 threads that loop at the back, and you've got this telescopic radar thing that lifts up the thread and feeds it through. And you can have your threads in a line, which makes it nice and neat, doesn't it? Be rather than all bulky at the back, which is what we like. So it's easy to put away, and this handle makes it easy to just sort of lift it. You might not be lucky enough to have a nice big table like this, so it means it's easy to just sort of lift up and put away to the side of you when you want to swap over. Checking the hand wheel on my machine, the hand wheel seems to be working fine. In the last batch of Singer machines, the hand wheels were an issue, so do check that as soon as you grab your purchase. The presser foot lever is here, and that's excellent. That lever is really handy there because that's what we're naturally used to when we're working on a sewing machine. They're either under at the back there or round at the back there. So I like that actually. that's a bonus. If I release this fabric that they've put, that's attached to the threads that are threaded in the machine. One of the negatives I always think is, why don't they supply threads? Sometimes you'll find a machine that has cones on there. It's like buying a robot toy at Christmas and forgetting to buy the batteries. Open this up. What I can see is the knife adjustment. There's a black screw here that adjusts the width of the knife. Now they set it to factory settings at 3.5 millimeters. So, but I can't see any markings there for it to be adjusted. So I think you're just going to work on what works best. And to be fair, that's what you need to do. You don't want a bog standard stitch width, because every fabric is different. Now we have the upper knife here. I'm not a big fan of the knife being in this position here, but it does slide out of the way pretty easily. I'm working on the side here and it's working okay. But I don't like this grip. I think if they put a rubber grip on there, it makes it nicer and easier to hold. Now the instructions are actually very good. Again, you've got a nice big pack of instructions, but half of this booklet is in German. I'm not German speaking, so it's no good to me. So I've got to go all the way halfway through the book and then I get to my instructions. But the instructions are really good in this booklet. I think Singer do give you really good, nice detailed photographs and instructions, and show you how to use the machine the best to its ability. The details on how to thread the machine are very good in this book. One of the best I've actually seen, so I will give Singer a good rating for their instructions. It really is a well-built machine. I've really pushed it, sewing lots of straight stitches, seeing how fast it goes, seeing how noisy it is. I mean, it's a loud machine, overlockers are, but it's not too loud. I think in the book it actually tells you it's 90 decibels. It goes at 1300 stitches per minute, and that's actually quite fast for the price and for the fact that it's an overlocker. They don't tend to go much faster than that. You don't get a lot with the machine. You've got your plastic tweezers. I don't like too much plastic as it is, but metal tweezers hold the thread better. With plastic, the static pulls it back, so I was finding it troublesome. That 2-thread adapter pinged out, so you've got to be really careful that you put it in properly, because I was sewing away and suddenly it pinged out and I was back to not flat lock thread anymore. What else? You get your cone adapters so that you can use cones instead of spools, cops, sorry. The threading system is really easy. It actually, with the threads not overlapping, and this hook underneath the needle was actually very easy to get to. There was no gimmicky fast system or hook system. You actually just be able to access that hook right very, very easily. And I managed to do it 3 times actually really quickly. You just hoop your thread round. The only thing I found troublesome really in all of that was when I was taking needles out. Well, taking the needles out was okay. It was putting them in. This knife gets in the way. Let me pull that open. So this knife block gets in the way. And talking about the knife, that's a horrible knife. It's really hard to adjust. I really don't like that screw at all. It really digs into your fingers, digs into my fingers. So I really do hope that on the next Singer model it works better, and you've got to make sure you've got the hand wheel in the right place for it to get back into position. It's really not, I didn't enjoy that bit at all, but it's not often that you need to move the knife around, so you might be okay with that. The threading was good. It feels solid. That's the back spools wobbling around, but it feels really solid. I like the handle where it is. That makes it easy, and it did bounce around on the table, but not too much. And it has got suckers, so if I wasn't using a tablecloth it would be fine. And I like the rolled hem and the normal hem finger positioning. It slides really easily. The only thing about it is it's marked on the needle plate a rolled hem in the wrong place, or maybe it's in the right place, but to me, when I looked at it, I read it in the wrong place, and then it didn't give me a rolled hem. So it's many of you who have bought it will probably be feeling quite pleased with yourselves, because it is actually a good deal. Make sure you subscribe, ring that bell, and I will see you soon. Take care.